lesson, we will be graphing quadratic equations. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to graph it and find the equation for the axis of symmetry and the coordinates of the vertex. So in a quadratic, we have the equation 6x squared plus 8x plus 13. So you have to know what the a, b, and c are. So in this one, the a is 6. The c is 13. And the b is 8. The axis of symmetry is that fold line. If we took the parabola and folded it in half, that would be our axis of symmetry. Because parabolas are symmetrical, the vertex is the point with the fold, and it's always on the axis of symmetry. So the vertex is the point, and the axis of symmetry is written as an equation. In the example here, x equals 2. The equation to find the axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. It's just something you have to memorize. The axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. So to graph it, the first step is to find that axis of symmetry using that equation, negative b over 2a. Then you find the vertex, so you plug in your x into your function and solve for y. That'll give you the x and y, which is the vertex. You determine if it's a max or min based on the positive or negative a. Make a table, so plug in any x values. I would start with the vertex in the middle so you can see the shape of the parabola, and then graph the points and draw your curve. So in this first example, f of x is x squared plus 3. The first thing I'm going to do is find the axis of symmetry. So I'm going to use our equation negative b over 2a. So in this case, the b is 0, so negative 0 over 2 times 1, so our x equals 0. Our vertex, y equals, I plug this 0 in for x, so I get 0 squared plus 3, so y is equal to 3. So our vertex is 0, 3. I can see that this is a positive number, which means it's a happy face, so it's a min. To make my table, I start with my vertex in the middle, and then I use 2x values to the left and 2x values to the right. If I plug in negative 2, so this would be negative 2 squared plus 3. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. I do the same thing. I plug in negative 1 squared plus 3. Negative 1 squared is 1 plus 3 is 4. If I plug in 1 squared plus 3 is also 4, and 2 squared plus 3 is 7. These always have to be the same. So if I graph it, negative 2, 7, negative 1, 4, 0, 3, 1, 4, and 2, 7, I get a parabola. Make sure to put arrows at the end. So this one, negative x squared minus 4x minus 4, again, starting with my axis of symmetry of negative b over 2a. So I have negative 4 over 2 times negative 1. So that gets me 4 over negative 2. So x equals negative 2. Now I need to solve for y. So I plug in this value for x. And I get negative 2 minus 4 times negative 2 minus 4, so y equals 0. And a is negative, that means it's a sad face, so it is a max. I'm going to start with my vertex in the middle, so negative 2, 0. If I plug in negative 3, so I have negative times negative 3 squared minus 4 times negative 3 minus 4, that gets me negative 1. If I plug in negative 4 here, negative 4 squared minus 4 times negative 4 minus 4, all of that together equals negative 4. I do the same thing with the negative 1, that gets me negative 1, and 0 gets me negative 4. Make sure these match. Graph it, negative 4, negative 4, negative 3, negative 1, negative 2, 0, negative 1, negative 1, and 0, negative 4. Draw my curved parabola. All right, third one. My function is x squared plus 2x plus 3. Starting with my axis of symmetry, negative b over 2a. That's negative 2 over 2 times 1, so x equals 1. The vertex, I plug in that 1 for x, so I get negative 1. Sorry, this is negative 1. So I get negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 plus 3. So y is equal to 2. A is positive, so that means it's a happy face, which means the vertex is a min. I'm going to start by putting my vertex of negative 1, 2 in the center. I'm going to plug in negative 2 for x, so negative 2 squared plus 2 times negative 2 plus 3 is 3. If I plug in negative 3 squared plus 2 times negative 3 plus 3, that equals 6. If I plug in 0, I'm going to get 3, and if I plug in 1, I'm going to get 6. Again, making sure those match. Let's graph it at negative 3, 6, at negative 2, 3, at negative 1, 2, at 0, 3, and at 1, 6. And there's my parabola. All right, since parabolas are symmetrical, the fold line is called the axis of symmetry. And what is the equation to find the axis of symmetry? Negative b over 2a.